Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another achievement guide in Kronos Battle Worlds. And today we are dealing with the fourth mission, and let me tell you, this one took a while. It took me about 4 hours to get through this thing, and mostly that's because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing in terms of the objective. So my goal here is to save you some time so you get through this a little more efficiently than I do. What I'm going to do at the beginning is lay out the general objectives and the strategy. Then I'll go into a little bit more detail on how I think it's best to go about completing that. And then, again, I'll leave the remainder of my replay, which I've cut down as much as I can to still have it kind of have a flow and make sense. And you can see it's still almost 40 minutes long because there's a lot going on in this battle. But at the end of the day, this is not a tough mission. It just is a bit of a grind to figure out what you need to do and move all the units you need to cover the large area. So, primary objective for this mission is to secure the enemy headquarters. And that's kind of an interesting word, headquarters, because it's a singular and it's a plural. And in this case, you don't know what it means, and I certainly didn't when I was playing through it. Well, spoiler alert, I'll give you the inside info. Headquarters in this mission refers to two different buildings. So the primary objective is to capture both of those. The secondary objective, which you need to do first before you do the primary objective so that you can unlock the secondary achievement for this mission, is to defeat the enemy fleet. And that is what it sounds like. That means destroy every single boat that is on the map controlled by the enemy. And there are a lot of them, and they're scattered around. But the fact that they're scattered around is actually a help to you, because you don't need many of your own ships to defeat the scattered fleet, as I'll describe in a little bit. So the layout for this map, you start with a completely amphibious assault. You have some actual combat boat units, and then you have some transport boat units. You have some light ones, the hovercraft vehicles, and then you have some heavy transport units, which can only use a dock. So in order to complete this mission, you need to capture the two headquarters. There are 3 major islands on the map. There might be 1 or 2 small minor islands as well. You can ignore them pretty safely here for the sake of completing this mission. The 3 major islands, the way I'm going to refer to them is there's a north island, which is at the top of the map, and it's pretty much directly to your right when you spawn in. That's the one that you see on the screen right now. And then there are 2 kind of twin islands that extend north to south, kind of in the middle of the map next to each other. And I'm going to refer to those as west to the left and east to the right. And I may also say left and right as well as you look at the mini-map. So the headquarter buildings that you need to take over, one of them is on the North Island, one of them is on the East Island, the island to the right. So you can completely ignore the left island. There's no reason to go there. You're just going to waste your time. I'm sure there's some units that you can secure there, which might make your fight easier, but you don't need to go there. I didn't go there to complete my playthrough. It's just going to be a bit of a waste of time if you do. So the way that I went about this mission, the way that you kind of need to complete these assaults is you need to pick one of the islands. I picked the north because it was the closest. Defeat the naval units in the area, and you outnumber them pretty greatly. So you're able to do that efficiently and also build up the experience of your naval units. When you start getting, 2-star destroyers and subs, you can really put a hurt on any of the enemy forces you're going to run into. And if as the mission goes on, you'll have some opportunities to repair as well. So you don't need much more in terms of naval power than what you start with. You can build more if you secure a dockyard or a harbor, but more than 1 or 2 additional units I really don't think you'll need to finish off the enemy fleet for the secondary objective. So in order to capture the headquarters, what you need to do is make a landing on one of the islands, and here you can see I'm doing it on the North Island. But in order to do that, you have to land your light transport carriers, I think they're called alligators, unload your light units, including your infantry, make an assault on the harbor, capture the harbor with your infantry units, and then you can dock your big transport with the dockyard and unload your heavy units, your tanks and whatnot, to then secure the rest of the island and take over the headquarters building. One thing to keep in mind that you want to do is keep your naval battle units as close to the shore and as close to your landing party as you can, because they have an impressive range and they can cover your units. And your light units are going to be pretty weak, and there will be some tanks and other impressive enemy defenses when you're trying to make these landings. So secure a beachhead, unload your light units, use support from your naval ships, capture the dockyard, dock your heavy cargo ship, and then unload and sweep through the map until you've captured the island on that, captured the headquarters on that island. There's a lot of gun turret emplacements and other things that are defending these the various islands. Whenever you have an opportunity, use your naval units to attack them. It may take 4 turns or 5 turns for your cruisers to destroy a turret, but do it. Sit there and do it. You will not take any damage. You'll not take any fire in return, and you'll be able to take out those turrets for free. Your land-based units are at a premium in this fight. Every one that you lose is going to hurt. You can capture bases. You can produce a couple of additional units, but remember, you're going to be moving. You're going to be island hopping here. So every time you produce something, you're also going to need to transport it. And every time you transport it, you're also going to need to defend it. And every time you produce a new unit, you're going to need to get new resources to the building to create the next one. And that's what makes this mission spiral out of control. So play it safe, be smart, and make your assault. Now, one super useful thing that I stumbled into during this mission, I started with this northern map. And you'll see I eventually took over the dockyards. There's actually 2 of them there. And then I started my push to the northeast, sorry, where the headquarters is for this island. And as soon as I captured, there's a radar unit kind of in the middle of the island. As soon as I captured that, 3 alligators of the enemy team spawned on the north border of the map and started making their way to this island to reinforce it. Now, thankfully, I think it's about 12 minutes into the video. Thankfully, I had lined up my alligators and a couple other units along the beachhead to the north, just so that they were ready for my units to get back in for when I needed to move to the next island. And they ended up forming a perfect blockade. The enemy units, they can't cross a space that your units are on. So I had taken up every space on the northern beach, so their transports couldn't get to land. So I was able to completely encircle them, take them out, block them from going anywhere useful, and whatever was inside those reinforcements died with the transports. If the transport goes down, the units inside them go down. So there could have been tanks in there. There could have been hydras in there. I don't know, but do that. When you take the northern beachhead, line up your alligators there, leave a naval boat or 2 there to support, and don't leave any spaces open for the enemy reinforcements to reach that beachhead, and you'll have an easier time of it. So once you do that, once you move to the northwest, you secure the headquarters on this island. You're halfway to your primary goal. What I would do then is clean up the island, gather some resources, repair any damage to your destroyers and to your cruisers, to your battle naval units, get a nice fit force, and go around the map and clean up the enemy fleet. There's going to be about 5 or 6 pockets of enemy ships. Usually they have 2 of the bigger boats, 2 of the smaller boats, and then 1 or 2 others kind of mixed in. And if you can control the engagement, set it to a situation where you have the advantage, you'll be able to clean that up, especially once you start getting veterancy on your units, 1s and 2 stars. You'll be able to destroy them pretty easily, and you can always go back to repair. If you dock one of your ships in the dockyard, you can repair it as long as you've got resources in there to do so. So once you then have gone around the map, make sure you check everywhere, right? Check to the far northwest, check to the southeast, the southwest. There are little pockets everywhere. Once you've finished off all of the fleet, you'll get the notification that you've completed the secondary objective. Then the only thing you need to do is capture the last headquarters building, which is on that east or right-hand island. And so that's kind of a short jump from the North Island. You can unload or reload all your units onto your transports, ship them just across the way to the south, and again, you've got to do the same thing. Establish a beachhead, put your light units down, leave your boats in support so that they can rain fire down, work your way up to the north to secure the harbor. Once you do, you can dock, unload your big units, and push your way south into the headquarters there. Now that East Island is much more heavily defended, but remember, the goal here is just to capture a single building, and when you do, if this is the last headquarters you need, the mission ends immediately. So you don't need to kill everything. There's, maybe 8 gun emplacements on that island. You don't need to kill them all. All you need to do is create a path that you can fit your units down to get into the base to capture the headquarters. So what I did was sent my units. I hugged the west coast of the East Island. So between the two islands, the twins, there's kind of a little channel that runs down the middle. And I had my boats go down and just they could pick off the closest gun turrets to the shore. Especially if when you get the 2-star upgrade, if you take the extended range, there's one that extends your range by 2 tiles. That's really great for this because it really means you can reach a lot of the gun turrets and land-based units with your boats with impunity from return fire. So you can just kind of move them down and clear a path for your units and snake them down the western side of that eastern island. You'll get into the base, and then you can kind of sweep up. There's a little resistance in there, capture the headquarters, and the mission will immediately end. You don't need to sweep through and completely destroy all the other gun turrets. The way I did the mission, there were no artillery units that I was able to find. So, going through gun turrets is a bit of a challenge unless you use your boats and avoid them when you can. There's an argument that you could take the right island, the East Island, first, and then go to the North Island because there is a heavy factory on that East Island. For me, I didn't think that was, after doing the mission, I don't think that's worth it because the East Island, as I said, it's much more heavily defended. There's a lot more that can go wrong there, and it might be better to take the North Island first, reinforce, repair, have a force that you can then move to that other island, push through, get your breakthrough, capture the base, and be done with the mission, rather than worry about capturing and then maybe there's a counter attack and you have to transport your units around with all the gun turrets that you left behind. It might be better, but I thought it would lead to more potential problems. So I didn't do it that way. I don't recommend you do it that way, but like every mission in this game, there are multiple ways to achieve your goal. I'm just trying to lay out the one that I think works best based on my playthrough. So that's going to wrap this up. Hopefully you guys can use this to your advantage and be much more efficient at this mission than I am. If you enjoyed this, if it was at all helpful, please give a like to the video. I do appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.